You have an interview in 9 days, and the honest truth is you have no idea what they are going to ask. Today we fix that. I am going to show you how to turn Claude into a hiring manager who grills you, scores you, and tells you exactly where your answer fell apart. By the end of this video, you will have a repeatable 9-day prep system, a project that remembers your background, a bank of stories you can pull from under pressure, and a mock interview loop that gets harder every round instead of easier. First, why Claude specifically? Interview prep is not a knowledge problem. It is a rehearsal problem. You need something that will push back, ask the awkward follow-up, and stay patient at 11 at night when you are on your 4th rewrite of the same story. Start by creating a project. On Claude.ai, click Projects in the sidebar, then create a new one. Call it something like Interview Prep Product Manager Roles. A project keeps context across every chat you start inside it, so you stop re-explaining yourself every single time. Now feed the project knowledge. Upload your resume, the job posting, and a short note about what you actually want. 2 paragraphs is enough. What you are good at, what you are avoiding, and the one thing about your background you are nervous about explaining. Next, decode the posting. Job descriptions are written by committee, and half the bullet points are filler. Ask Claude to separate what they will actually test from what got copied in from an old listing. Then have it write the questions. Ask for 15 likely questions for this exact role at this exact seniority, split into behavioral, situational, and role-specific. You will be surprised how many of those 15 show up in the real room. That phrase, what the question is really testing, is the whole game. Nobody asks about a difficult coworker because they care about the coworker. They are checking whether you take responsibility or hand out blame. Claude naming that out loud changes how you answer. Now research the company. Turn on web search and ask for the last 6 months of news, recent product launches, and anything the leadership has said publicly about direction. Ask for sources so you can check them yourself before you quote anything. Verify what comes back. Claude will give you links, and you should open them. Walking into an interview and confidently referencing a funding round that never happened is a worse outcome than saying nothing at all. Now the core asset, your story bank. Most candidates fail interviews not because they lack experience, but because they cannot retrieve it under pressure. 6 well-rehearsed stories, flexible enough to answer 20 different questions, is the target. Here is the prompt that does the heavy lifting. Ask Claude to interview you about your last 2 roles, 1 question at a time, until it has enough detail to build 6 stories in the STAR format. 1 question at a time is the critical instruction. Answer messily. Do not write polished prose. Type the way you would talk to a friend, half sentences and all. Claude is better at pulling structure out of a rambling, honest answer than out of a tidy answer that hides the interesting part. Once the stories exist, force the numbers in. Ask Claude to flag every claim in your stories that has no measurable outcome attached, and then help you estimate an honest one. Reduced support tickets is weak. Cut ticket volume by roughly 1/3 over 2 quarters is strong. Next, your opening pitch. Tell me about yourself is asked in almost every interview, and it is the one most people waste. Ask Claude for a 90-second version that ends by pointing directly at why this role is the logical next step. Then cut it. Ask for it again at 60 seconds and again at 30. The short versions teach you what actually matters, and you will need the 30-second one anyway when a recruiter calls you unexpectedly on a Tuesday afternoon. Now the mock interview itself. This is where most people set it up too gently and get useless practice. The framing you want is adversarial. Tell Claude it is a hiring manager who is slightly skeptical and has 3 other strong candidates. 3 rules make the difference. 1 question at a time. No praise mid-interview. And it must ask at least 1 follow-up to every answer, because the follow-up is where real interviews actually break people. Say your answers out loud before you type them. This sounds fussy, and it is the single highest value habit in this whole video. An answer that reads beautifully often collapses when you hear yourself say it at normal speaking speed. When you finish, ask for a scorecard, not a vibe check. Ask Claude to rate each answer 1 to 5 on structure, evidence, and relevance, and to quote the exact sentence where it started losing interest. That quote is the gold. Then run the drill. Take your 2 lowest scoring answers, rewrite them, and ask Claude to interview you on those 2 questions only 3 times each, with a different follow-up angle every time. Repetition on your weak spots, not your strong ones. Situational questions deserve their own session. What would you do if a deadline slipped and your manager was unreachable? Ask Claude to fire 10 of these, and to escalate the scenario after each answer so you have to keep adapting. Now the weakness question. The advice to pick a strength in disguise is dead, and interviewers can smell it. Ask Claude to help you find a real limitation that is genuinely not disqualifying for this role, plus the concrete thing you did about it. Gaps and career changes get the same treatment. The winning structure is short, honest, forward. What happened? 1 sentence. What you did with the time? 1 sentence. Why you are ready now? 1 sentence. Then stop talking and let them move on. Why do you want to work here? Is the question people fumble with generic flattery. Combine your research from earlier with your actual motivation. Ask Claude to draft 3 versions and reject any that would work for a competitor without editing. If your interview is technical, the approach shifts. For case-style interviews, ask Claude to give you a prompt, then to stay silent while you talk through your structure, then critique your framework rather than your final number. 1 boundary worth stating plainly. Use Claude to prepare for a take-home assignment, to understand the domain and pressure test your thinking. Do not have it silently do the work you are submitting as your own. Companies check, and the interview afterwards will expose it anyway. Panel interviews are easier to simulate than you would think. Ask Claude to play 3 interviewers at once, each with a different agenda. A supportive peer, a skeptical senior, and a distracted executive who only cares about business impact. If you are on mobile, use voice mode for at least 2 sessions. Speaking your answers into the app and hearing the next question spoken back is meaningfully closer to the real thing than typing ever gets you. Questions you ask them are half the interview, and most candidates improvise. Prepare 6. 2 about the role, 2 about the team, 2 about the company direction. Ask Claude to make them specific enough that a lazy interviewer cannot answer in 1 line. Compensation comes next. Before any call where numbers might come up, ask Claude to help you find the market range for this title in this city, then rehearse the exact sentence you will say when they ask for your expectations. The day before, do less than you think. 1 full mock, a read through your 6 stories, and your 6 questions. Then ask Claude for a 1-page cheat sheet you can glance at 10 minutes before you walk in. Right after the interview, before you do anything else, dump everything you remember into the project. Every question they asked, what you said, what felt shaky. That raw dump is the most valuable prep material you will ever have for round 2. Then the thank you note. Ask Claude to draft a short one that references 1 specific thing from the conversation, not a generic thanks for your time. 4 sentences maximum. Send it within 24 hours. A few mistakes to avoid. Do not memorize scripts, because you will sound rehearsed and freeze when the question is worded differently. Do not accept Claude's first draft as your voice, and do not let it invent achievements that are not yours. Rewriting in your own voice is the step people skip. Read every answer aloud and change any phrase you would never actually say. Interviewers cannot always name why an answer feels off, but they notice when the words do not sound like the person saying them. So the recap. Build a project, decode the posting, research the company, extract 6 STR stories, run adversarial mocks, demand scorecards, drill your 2 worst answers, prepare 6 questions, and debrief immediately afterwards. That is the whole system. If this helped, subscribe, because tomorrow we are covering how to automate the boring parts of your job with Claude. The recurring reports, the status updates, the tidy-up work nobody wants. Try 1 mock interview today. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there.